Well, he was
Who
jerking
knows?
off
I was
alone in
gonna
his
say.
bed in his apartment earlier, and now he's got a dress of a female.
Yeah.
Well, how many people are in your bed when you jerk off?
That's not what I mean.
Welcome, everyone, to S1E1, the show where each week we pick a different show, watch just its first televised episode, and rate it, ignoring anything we know about the future run of that show. This week, we're going to be talking about What We Do in the Shadows. What We Do in the Shadows currently has 27 episodes over 3 seasons, but is still running on FX. We're going to be talking about episode 1 today, which was just called Pilot, originally airing March 27th, 2019. So to get things started, I'm Jay Gags. With me, as always, the guys, Joe, Nick, Ferg, and Gordo. What's going on, guys?
Hey, bat.
Creepy paper.
All right, so this is our Halloween episode because this is going to be out just a couple days before Halloween. So what we're going to be doing is we all have costumes that we're going to be revealing in a minute, and we'll put that clip up on Instagram, which you can find at S1E1 Pod on Instagram, all our social media. S1E1pod.com will take you links to all our social media, anywhere where you want to listen to us, all that. So check us out there at S1E1pod.com. Don't forget, rate, review, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. But let's get started with that. So just to kick off the episode, guys, if everyone's ready to go, unmute your videos in 3, 2, 1, go.
Meow.
What, Joe? What are you?
What the fuck?
A potato?
I'm a giant box of Cheez-Its.
That's the worst. Oh, a potato. You still a potato. Oh, God. He's a potato.
And Gordo is a cat.
Meow.
Just for those of you just listening, Ferg is Freddy Krueger. Ferg, try to talk with that mask on.
Hello.
And Nick is a Zoom filter pirate.
Yep. Normally, I don't like dressing up, but I would have for this one had I remembered this is what we were doing.
Oh, and I am wearing a luchador mask. I believe
I almost
it's a
wore
Mac
my fire.
Is that still El Mysterio Blanco?
I would, if I was to wear this, it would be as a fan of El Mysterio Blanco. I am. There's been speculation over the years that I'm him. I assure you that I'm not. But in tribute to El Mysterio Blanco, I have this luchador mask on today.
I still thought it was El Aso Wipo.
Bag of crap.
You're gonna take shit for potato, Jay?
Yeah, guys dress up like a giant box of shit. Call me El Aso Wipo.
Yeah, I put a lot
He's
of effort into
allergic
this
to
costume.
himself.
You should frame that after.
I should take a picture and email or just keep like Instagram bombing Cheez-Its over and over again.
Are you a gluten-free Cheez-It?
I am. Yeah, hold on.
All right, boys, I'm taking the mask off.
Is that a penis on that?
Where? No.
What is that?
a
That's
mushroom?
Joe's actual penis. He forgot to.
No, it's the Sunshine logo. The Sunshine Guy logo. From
It looks like a penis.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not an artist. What do you want from me?
It doesn't look like a sun.
I had like
all
a
right.
a
couple of
mushroom.
minutes in between work today to draw a giant to figure this thing out. Okay, give me the best of my abilities.
What is it? Is it like a yard bag?
It's actually the bag that giant frame was wrapped in.
Ferg, I know you're going without the mask, but you're gonna keep. There you go. Keep the hat on.
Yeah, you keep the fedora on.
And although this is terribly uncomfortable for me because of my facial hair pressing up against my face, I'm going to do my best to keep this mask on for the entirety of
You
the
will
episode.
not make that.
I'm going to try. Even
I'll tell you
though
this, the only reason I took the mask off is because the earpiece fell out.
Yeah.
So I was listening. It was like you guys were whispering because it was the echo of you guys in the mask and the earpiece.
this
I
is
will
going to be
leave this on, but every time I try to do something, you're just going to hear this.
Yes, please.
I feel
well,
like
if that
better than
can
your metal
distract you,
cup.
yeah. If wearing that distracts you from using your metal cup, which anyone who listens to the show, you're familiar with Joe's cup, you just don't know it. But you have certainly heard it a couple times by now.
I took the lid off. It's fine.
Well, let's get right into it, guys. What We Do in the Shadows, and I'm just going to mention this right off the bat. Originally, a movie in 2014 came out before the
Fantastic
show
movie.
started. So the show, have you seen it? The movie, have you seen it?
Yes and yes.
Yes and no. I've not seen the movie.
You should really watch the movie. It's great.
Yes to the series, no to the movie.
Joe, you're on mute.
Sorry, I was taking off my giant potato Cheez-It sack. I didn't want to make the ruffly noise. Yeah, I've seen both.
Okay.
Hey, buddy, take off the costume.
Take off the big potato sack there, pal.
Look at that. That's a giant spud if I've ever seen one. But and for me, I've actually, this is the first time I've seen the show ever. I was holding off because I knew we were eventually going to do it on the show. And no, I haven't seen the movie. So for Ferg, you have seen the show and the movie.
Yep.
Is it essential to see the movie first, or do they stand alone? Are they even does it continue off of the movie, or
It's just the same premise, but you don't have to see the movie at all to enjoy the show.
does it have
There is an episode there's an episode that's a nod to the movie because the characters show up, but that's like a one-off thing, and it's not something like, even if you didn't get it, you just be like, oh look, those are other vampires.
Oh, so there's other characters in that movie, or different characters in that movie?
Yeah, none
it's,
of the
it's
same
not the
from the
same
TV show.
vampires in the movie.
Okay, cool.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, so right off the bat, to get things started with the actual episode, right away you see it's like this documentary style show, and it's kind of they're in this like gothic style mansion. And I'll say right from the beginning, because I didn't really know much about the show other than people had just told me to watch it. I didn't even know it was like documentary style the whole time. So as soon as it started, I was like, oh, okay, so this is the kind of show it is.
I love the documentary style of it, and I appreciate it too later on in the episode that they actually call it out.
Yes, yeah, I am too. So the first character we meet is Guillermo, who's a vampire familiar, and he's introducing himself to us and tells us a little bit about what he does. And he talks a little bit about the dangers of it because you are, dealing with vampires. So now we know, it's in the title, right? It's going to be something kind of cryptic, but yeah. So now we know officially it's a vampire show, and we see him light some candles and then walks over to like a coffin and starts conversing with somebody who's in it. And he's like, it's time to rise. And he's like presenting, and the coffin's stuck. So, obviously, like, this is the first time you're getting this is a comedy, so if you're not familiar with the show already or hadn't seen the movie, this is the first time that, like, okay, this is not a serious vampire show.
Yeah, you get the vibe really well right away when he just can't, and he keeps saying it. It's time to rise. He just can't crack the coffin.
This ain't Buffy.
And then he had said that being a vampire familiar is like, it's like kind of like being their best friends, but it's also being a slave. And then he's been working for 10 years with his master, and he's excited because he's trying to find out what's planned for him. He's thinking there's going to be some sort of a party, and he's hoping that he's going to turn him into a vampire.
And being a familiar for a long time is kind of a bummer, right? Because when you get turned into a vampire is the age you're going to stay forever.
Yeah, that's a good
so
point.
You're just wasting time, basically.
The longer you wait, you're stuck in an older body.
Like, you don't want to be turned at 70. Like, that's got to be kind of a shitty eternity.
But I'd say he's in like his mid-20s. If I was to be turned, that's probably where I would want to be turned.
Yeah, I would say like 27, 28.
Yeah.
Seems like a good age range.
In general, yeah. I've yo-yoed in my weight so much over the years, and I was trying to think of like what was a good point for me to lock down that size, which for me was like 20, which is like a little young.
It
But
doesn't matter. If you're a vampire, you can shape change.
permanently though, like, because you still have like your
I don't think
standard body
permanently.
type, right?
I'm sure they can.
But yeah, I guess I could always just do whatever for the right circumstances, and my obesity won't cause any health issues because I'm dead.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to say, can you work out? Like, how does that work when you're a vampire? Like, if you wanted to say lose weight or gain muscle?
I
a
think
good
you're just
question.
stuck.
Know.
I don't think you can. You're dead. So like your
I think
inner
you're stuck, yeah.
like your inner, metabolism and stuff isn't functioning except when you're eating blood.
Although I like the idea of like a short about a vampire who's trying to gain muscle and is incapable of it.
He's trying to get swole
Yeah.
at the gym.
Well,
Well,
he
you
just
do learn
sucked
later
the blood
on,
of
not
a
to jump
strong
ahead,
guy.
But if you're a vampire and you do drink the blood of somebody who's been doing something, you get whatever's in their bloodstream. So maybe if you drink a bunch of blood that has protein in it.
It could work. So now we finally see this coffin is ready to open up, and we see Nandor, right? That is. I'm gonna have to double check with everyone about the pronunciation and names because
Nandor.
they don't really go over them much. They kind of show you the names, they don't talk about them much. So Nandor rises from it, and he Guillermo's like very scary. He's like, thank you, and
that the first laugh made
right off the bat.
Yeah, right off the bat. Ooh, very spooky, Master. Thank you. It's just like the deadpan. The delivery.
deadpan's great.
Yeah. In that moment, like kind of right off the bat, his desire to like kind of have this grand entrance and put on a show, and he needs this like acceptance too. Like,
yeah. Oh, also, this is only the second show now that we've done that's still on the air.
Right. I don't want to say completely, because it would be a real stretch to say it, but in this moment, he had like a little bit of a Michael Scott vibe to him. It was like that need for approval in the like the showmanship. But he's not a Michael Scott character throughout the episode. But right there, I got a little bit of that vibe. First impression. So now we get into the intro, and it's like a lot of like just kind of like old photographs and paintings, like
I love
like
this
Gothic style
intro.
paintings. Yeah. And we got like news articles, stuff like that. It's all kind of related to the characters. And the song was really catchy. I don't know. I never looked it up. Is this song unique to the intro?
In the movie too.
Yeah, it's used for the movie for like the credits as well. I forget who sings it though.
But it's an original piece for What We Do in the Shadows.
I don't
doubt
know,
it.
Gordo.
It
That's
seems
your
old, but I don't
Yeah.
know if it's old on purpose. Like
It's also, it doesn't just show you who the characters are. It shows you how long they've been around too, because it's going through like crazy,
Yeah, it's kind of giving you like the
eras
history
in
of
life.
vampires
Yeah.
a little bit.
Which is the best part about it is because they show Colin Robinson, who you don't meet him yet, but you see that one of the vampires just looks exactly the same in all of them.
He's just standing there like not smiling.
Yeah. He hasn't gone through the Dark Ages or anything. He's just the same.
Gordo just checked with his research department.
Yeah, so this is from www.fandom.com wiki. The song is called You're Dead, and it's written and performed by Norma Tanija. It is it's used as both the theme from the film and the TV series, and the song was featured on her 1966 album Walkin' My Cat Named Dog.
that's a girl.
Yes.
Oh, I knew it was a girl, but I didn't realize it was from 1966. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
it's
Yeah.
actually a really
old.
nice, good recording quality for
I
that
thought
too.
it was a dude's voice.
Tanega is her last name. I don't know how to.
Someone will chime in.
Tunisia?
Let us know.
I'm going to assume Tunisia.
Tanega.
You know what?
I don't know. Either way, that's the answer.
Yeah, one of us might be right.
Let us
So,
know in the comments below.
So yeah, if you're a member of the Tunisia, Tanega, Tahini family, let us know.
Oh, stupid mask. My
She
head
also
smells
died
like
2
a
years ago.
condom.
Okay.
Take
So
off
yeah,
the Jimmy hat there, buddy.
there's an old rubber head.
Don't go rubbernecking over there.
So the next scene we see Nandor calls down Laszlo and Naja from upstairs, and they look like they may be vampires as well, but at this point I wasn't sure. And Nandor informs them that they received a letter and they need to go to the library to open it. And Laszlo's just like, why can't we just open it here? And Nandor's just like, it's a formality. It's a formality. And again, it's just like, it's the presentation of it all, right? Like it's not exciting to just read it right there. You need the whole ambiance. You need the setup.
God,
Condoms
Matt
is
Berry
hard.
is so underappreciated, I think. I want to see him in everything.
Right?
And he's just been in like
hilarious and everything.
two
especially
things
IT
I've seen him
crowd.
in. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's hard because you're trying to like give your hand or have any knowledge of the other shows, but it's hard for me to want to go through this episode analytically. I just want to gush about everything that happens that is so funny and every interaction they have.
episode.
And
Yeah.
this starts you off. So if you've never seen the show, right away, this is where you get sort of all the hints of how it's gonna be, and it's just so funny.
I'll say for me watching for the first time, within a couple minutes, like exactly what the show is, the tone of the show, the comedy of it. Like they knew what they were right from the beginning. They launched right away with that stuff.
It's crazy because it's an American show, but it has like a very British form of comedy. Like that.
It does, yeah. And also, what's his name directs it? Taika Waititi or whatever.
I don't know if he does the whole show. He did the movie. And
Frog,
I
say
know
it the
he's
way you
produced
need to say it so you can pronounce it.
Taika Waititi.
I forgot that from the episode a few weeks ago.
I'm not even being funny. I literally can't say his name.
I think we last referenced him in our Ghosted episode, which was 2 weeks ago. part of our 4 episodes of Halloween October extravaganza or whatever we should have officially called it. But
Spooktacular.
I think everyone just has to call it a spooktacular, right? That's like a default.
Yeah. But I just want to say that Nandor's thing with being like a showman and stuff. I just assume that he's basically supposed to be like Vlad the Impaler, and so he was like a great leader. It's like he's just used to being in the spotlight and people looking up to him and shit.
He wasn't a Vlad the Impaler though.
I said he's basically a Vlad the Impaler type.
Oh, okay.
A Vlad the Impaler sort of archetype stand-in.
It's like
they call him Nandor the Relentless because he
being
never relents.
Right.
Yeah, right.
That was another part.
So yeah, so
like every line is just perfect.
We have an interview with Nandor right there, and then he explains what empire he was once a soldier for. I don't remember which empire.
Ottoman Empire.
The Ottoman Empire.
And
as Jerry Seinfeld once said, it's an entire empire by putting your feet up, which is I can't not think that anytime anybody says Ottoman Empire.
And then he said there was a lot of killing and pillaging, and he was talking about someone's like, please don't pillage me. He's like, no, I'm pillaging everyone, you included.
Yeah.
And in that time, he was called Nandor the Relentless because he never relents.
Just his delivery on that.
I know. I like how he's supposed to be like this big brooding like thing, but he has like a really like a feminine, voice, and it just doesn't feel that way at all.
Yeah, he doesn't feel imposing at all.
It's one of those shows too where it's really hard to do it. Like you have the episode, like little stingers and things from episodes stuck in your head all the time, and it's impossible to not do it in the characters' voices.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so hard to not say bat or
Yes.
creepy paper. Like it's always you have to like do
Creepy
some
paper.
half-assed version of their voices.
Stab him.
So we get back to the argument about the letter, and they finally join them in. Was it the library? Was that the room they're trying to go to? I think it was the library. And he starts going over basic hygiene first, and it's he found people in the cages half drunk, which not the kind of drunk you assume. I actually like the way I don't remember the exact wordplay, but it was just
No, they were only half drunk.
Yes. So
Yeah,
as
this is the kind
vampires,
of
they're
humor.
only half drained of their blood, not inebriated.
And they're just mad because it's unhygienic.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I like how hygiene is at the forefront there for people who are undead.
Yeah. It's like it was bothering him though. Like this was the first time he could address it properly. Like he was like, before we can even get into this letter ordeal, like we really need to talk about hygiene right now. And I like that he don't want to directly blame Laszlo, but that's who he means. And they just start hissing at each other.
The hissing is so amazing.
Yeah. And then they like go to like grab each other and like grapple, and they elevate to the ceiling. So they're like just like choking each other in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to like an interview with Naja, and she compares the house to like a farm and says that like Nandor is like a controlling turkey, and Laszlo is like a bear that she likes to chase around the house. And it cuts to the scene of her just chasing him with a sword, saying, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." And like I just didn't. I don't know. I didn't expect that. Might be like my favorite shot of the entire episode was right there. I just didn't see that coming.
The interplay between all the interpersonal relationships of all these people who've been with each other all these years is done so well. And you can tell that there's there's just so much actual. I mean, everyone here's had roommates before, right? Like, even if it's like your best friend, after a while, you just want to kill your roommate half the time.
And then
I've had 4 idiot friends my whole life.
That works too.
So we get to the first Laszlo interview, and he was talking about he was like the most handsome man in the village, but it was eventually like overrun by leprosy. And he got it in just one area. And she explains that she's seen it, so we can assume what that one area might be that got leprosy.
It's also just like her great delivery too. She's like, luckily it's in a place nobody can see it, and she just deadpans, I can see it.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
And he's explaining how he and Naja first met, and it's accompanied by like some of it's like they use like the Gothic art to like show you certain parts of it, and they've done that a few times in the episode, which I liked. And I guess she was like clawing at his window, and he was hypnotized, but like he thought he was like hypnotized by her beauty, but it was actually that she just actually hypnotized him.
I know. I love how like in passing that was like, which I didn't find out until later, but yeah.
Like he romanticized the story until he found out years down the road, oh, by the way, you were hypnotized for all that. And they were about to make love, and then right beforehand. He turned into like a hideous leathery bat and drained him of his blood and turned him into a vampire.
And again, just matter of fact, they're just telling you this to a documentary crew because to them it's completely normal.
Yeah.
Right.
To them, it's a cute story.
Yeah, it's like they're meet cute.
Yeah.
It's how Harry met Sally.
Yeah. And then we cut back to that little meeting they're having, and I forget what led to the conversation about these marker pens. They just started talking about marker pens and like having like almost like a dry erase board to keep track of something.
No, they were talking about labeling the humans with the month, the day, and the year that is on them.
That's right.
So that they can keep track of who. Yeah, they can get rid of the old unhygienic humans.
Got it.
And their system is the same thing you do when you have a half a pound of turkey to put in the freezer.
Yeah.
With human beings.
Yeah.
And now it's time for the letter. And they tell Guillermo, or Nandor tells Guillermo to close the door. And he's like, it's already closed. He's like, close it more. so he just opens the door and shuts it again.
You know what that reminded me of is in Super Troopers when he tells him to pull over after he's already pulled over. I can't pull over any further.
Can't pull over any farther. And so that's when he tells them that the letter is from Baron. Baron, what is it? Alphonsus?
Just call him
Aphanis?
the Baron.
Yeah, just keep going with the Baron.
The Baron Aphanis, though? Is that what it's supposed to be? But yeah, we'll
They
see.
literally just call him the Baron.
I think it's Aphanis. Baron
Aphanis?
Aphanis.
So yeah, they get a letter from the Baron, and this like dramatic music plays, and they seem taken back. So we look at him to be like their higher power, the leader or whoever he is to them. But
Royalty.
Yes, it's a big deal that he reached out, and the Baron's coming to visit, and I forget. Was it Guillermo just goes, holy shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also a little scary too, right? Because now this other vampire is coming into the house who he doesn't have a personal relationship with, and he's constantly around vampires who might just kill him at any moment.
Right. He said it's dangerous being with them in general, yeah. And then she asks if he wrote why he was visiting, and Nandor's kind of going through it for a minute, and he's like, no, there's just nothing there. So then we learn a little bit about the Baron, and that he believes that vampires should basically be populating the whole world by now. And he's probably just coming there to check and see, like, if they've, I don't know, converted enough people, like if the vampire population is growing in America. But then
This is the great Laszlo line too, where he's like, the Baron believes vampires should rule America, but as you can see, this place is fucking massive.
Yeah. And
God.
So he's coming tomorrow. And then we get a Naja interview where she's telling us that like a couple hundred years ago that her and the Baron had a pretty strong sexual relationship. And there's like, they're showing these like pictures and drawings, and it's like her like flashing her crotch to like a half bat Baron or whatever it was. Like, I was trying to make out exactly if it was a flashing or a sexual act. That got a laugh out of me when it comes to that picture.
Did you say it was very acrobatic?
Yeah, they both describe the sex as
they both
because right after that we get the Laszlo interview where basically he had the same exact relationship with the Baron that she had.
I like too in that photo, it looks like the Baron is like farting in his face or something. I don't know if you guys picked that up.
I'm not surprised that you did.
He is laying down and his like ass is over his.
Yeah,
so
but there's like wind coming. It's either wind or crap that's coming from the Baron onto
guano
Laszlo's face.
I didn't.
It would be guano.
So I took note of the picture. I couldn't decipher from the picture if the person laying down was expecting a gas or a solid, but it was somewhere in that realm for sure. It was one of the two of those. And then for his arrival, it was recommended that they're trying to figure out like a good entrance. And it was like, we should get a dozen black alligators, but that got like vetoed because it was too expensive to get that many alligators and that much paint.
That much paint.
So the idea wasn't to find like you think maybe there's some like mythical black alligators.
Like hellish alligators.
But they were just they're just gonna paint a bunch of actual alligators black.
They would have made Guillermo do that too.
Right. So, but they're just going to settle on a black van, and they're going to try to get two virgins as well. And then
I was going to say it's funny that like you know their characters right away that they're all lazy. Like they're all like they're there for a reason. You don't know the reason.
They
yet,
heavily
but
rely on their familiars. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not exactly proactive at
Also,
all.
yeah, the leads into to the point too that they got sent there to take over America, and it's like, how far have you gotten? It's
They haven't made it
here.
very far yet.
That's where
Yeah.
that's where they arrived, and they just stayed.
Yeah. That's at the end of the episode,
Yeah.
though. Yeah,
I do
Nothing
appreciate it
ahead of
though,
us.
as in a group of long-standing friends, if like all of a sudden the 5 of us were dropped off, we became vampires, and it was like, you're in this house, take over. 200
Yeah,
years from now,
we
we'd be
wouldn't
sitting
do
here
shit.
having the same conversation, being like, I'm sorry, man, this place is fucking massive. We didn't do
Welcome
shit."
to S1E1.
We would just be mad at each other for spending 2 generations or 200 years talking in old-timey Maine voice or whatever.
So
It'll still be funny in 200 years.
I was
So-
thinking about this too. I don't know if anybody had this thought when we were watching it, but it must be way more fun to be a vampire in the winter on the East Coast because they only
It's because it's
wake up
darker
when the s-
longer.
Yeah, they only wake up when the sun's down. So like in August or July or whatever, when's the equinox, June 21st, whatever, you really only have like 8 hours where it's not
That's true. Yeah.
It's
totally
like
dark
that
out.
movie, what is it, 30 Days of Night, when they go to Alaska because
Yeah, 'cause it's night all the
stays
time.
dark that
but
long.
that's just hours you can physically be outside because, if you block the sunlight from your house, you can at least be up and function within the house. so.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true, but then you're running the risk that something could happen.
Yeah, for sure. And so they all start laughing because they were talking about how they're going to feast on virgin blood. And I like that the Guillermo was stopped. It's like, you can't laugh. Vampire only laugh. Like,
Yeah, he cuts him out to
yeah.
vampire only.
Shit
laugh.
on the
Yeah.
poor guy who does everything for them.
Yeah.
and then this is when she had said, like, should we tell Robinson? And Laszlo like, that'll ruin everything. And of course, enter Robinson from that point. And I didn't know this, so I was like, oh my God, it's Nate from The Office. I was
Yep.
so excited to see that he was in the show.
Yep. And I
Well,
love
you
how
have-
he's always
You have
referred.
to always say his full name.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I love how they always have to say his full name. I don't know why, but it gets me every time.
Colin Robinson.
He's like, are we having a house meeting? And they're like, no. He's like, so it's a coincidence you're all in this room at the same time? Yes. And we get an interview from Colin Robinson, he tells us he's like a psychic vampire or an energy vampire. He gets into it a little bit later about what that means, but I'll say in that moment when he explained that he's also a vampire, I was a little bummed there because my hope was that he was like just like a Craigslist roommate that like, just answered to like an ad, and now he's just like this
I
regular
feel like he
dude.
kind of is, but also a vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah,
know what
Well,
I
they don't
mean?
explain ever that I know of how they all, like how he gets tied up with them.
How they
either,
met,
which
yeah,
is-
right.
So I was kind of hoping he was just going to be like just some regular dude who happened to live there, but he does get into it a little bit as time goes on.
Everybody knows an energy vampire.
Yeah.
It's
So-
very relatable,
Really?
yeah.
So yeah, you see him in like an office, and apparently what he does is like by energy is he drains the energy from you, and he does it with like constant with conversation, where he basically bores you to death. And it shows him at work, and I like this. He was like making this really aggressive face almost while using a pencil sharpener.
Yeah, yeah.
He says energy vampires drain your energy by either boring you or enraging you.
Yeah. And he also explains that they're the most common type of vampire, and they're actually the only type of vampire that can drain the energy from another vampire.
Yeah.
He's also a
and
daywalker.
I was gonna say. and-
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I wonder about him though is, and I've only seen the first season, part of the second season for this, and I may have just missed it. Can he turn that off, or is he just constantly sucking energy? Like, is that, or can he just like not do it if he wants to?
No, he does it at will.
He has it. Well, that's how he feeds.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know
So
if
that's
it's just
like
like
his
a byproduct of him being alive is that he just constantly sucks energy from people, because that's the way it seems. He's just, every time he leaves a room, people are like, "Fuck." Like,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like when he left the room in this opportunity, he's like the power grows stronger in him by the night. Like,
yeah,
By the way,
yeah.
I really thought that was just a metaphor and he wasn't a real vampire. He just sucked the life out of a room.
yeah,
And then it was when, like, later in the episode, nothing ahead, when his eyes turn green, I go, oh, he really is a creature.
The face he
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
after
Isn't
he
it
feeds
in-
is my favorite thing ever. Yeah.
Isn't it at that scene though, at the end where he walks out and his eyes glare? From
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm
office?
that's the
saying.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Later on, yeah.
Okay. I missed that. I thought you meant later in
But
the.
I really thought, like Jay said, like he was just a normal guy, and that like the term energy vampire was just a metaphor because everyone has one of those, and they really make you want to kill yourself.
So we next thing we see is a Guillermo interview, and we kind of see like just these shots of him doing various tasks around the house. Like he's boarding up windows, he's doing some lawn care, and all of this is while he's explaining like what he does. So like one of the things is it was like the sunlight, like not on my watch type deal, and he's still boarding up the windows. But then a big job, and the hardest part of his job is the removal of carcasses. So
He's just kicking a body down the stairs.
Yeah, you see like a body wrapped up in a sheet essentially that he's like, just trying to get out of the house. What do you think would be like other tasks that someone in this?
He's definitely got to like clean the cages. He puts Nandor to bed and wakes him up. So
Yeah, I do love that, and it's a real process to tuck in and wake up Nandor.
Yeah.
He brings them their virgins.
Yes, they go track down virgins.
He's got to scout people and bring them in.
And we're gonna get to that in about a minute or so, anyways. But yes.
And he's also just like doing dish. Actually, there's no dishes to do. They don't eat. So
Yeah, no one's eating food.
yeah.
We see his room, which is like terribly, terribly small, and it's under the stairs. And he has a photo of him from like Halloween as a child, dressed as Antonio Banderas' character from Interview with the Vampire.
The wig is perfect.
And it was the first time he ever saw a Hispanic vampire, and that like inspired him. Like, I can be this one day too. Like, they're not all just white guys.
Has anybody here seen Interview with the Vampire? I've never seen it.
I've
You've
never
never
seen
seen
it
Really?
either.
A million times.
Yeah, I've seen that movie a bunch of
Classic.
times.
Oh, so
It's
if
a
you both seen it a
wicked
bunch
good
of
movie.
times, it's actually worth seeing. I don't like
It's-
Tom Cruise.
It's a legitimately good movie. It's,
So-
spoiler alert: he dies pretty early.
yeah, he's a
in the movie,
vampire.
so.
Well, what the fuck, man? We just told you we didn't see it.
He said he hates it, so he wasn't gonna watch it.
How is he gonna hate it without seeing it?
He said he hates Tom Cruise.
You fucking asshole. Because it piqued my interest immediately because I didn't think it was a good movie, and then you spoiled it instantly.
Well, edit it out, and then it'll be like it didn't
Fuck
happen.
you.
Edit it out from your brain.
Fuck you.
It's worth a watch. You can still watch it. You know
Not
how it's
now.
like- yes, you can. It's not that pivotal to the movie.
I just said it was pretty early, so clearly
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
You know how Titanic ended. You still watched it, right?
No, fuck boats.
I want you to paint me like one of your vampire girls.
I never heard a pirate say "fuck boats" before.
I know the irony. So also, I noticed in his room that he had like all these like tally marks on the wall. Like, is that something that I shouldn't even ask? But
I think it's just how long he's been waiting, I imagine, to become a vampire.
Perhaps.
Yeah, because I don't think. I mean, I've seen every episode up until the one from last week, and I don't think they ever addressed that.
I also
So-
thought maybe it was they used it as like some sort of cell or whatever, and the person before him did it.
Right.
Oh, like somebody was trapped in there. That's actually pretty.
Oh yeah, he
spot
might have
on.
like taken over a room.
'Cause
So
obviously
again,
they don't care about him enough that they just put him under the stairs, which
Yeah.
Well,
makes
I think
sense
it's
that
funny
would have
that
been-
that house is huge. It's got other wings and stuff, and they make him sleep under the
It's
stairs.
a Harry
still,
Potter
like-
style.
Yeah, because they show the outside of the house too, and you get like an actual sort of breadth of how big it is, and it's a big, big house.
yes. And he mentions again that he's really hoping to become a vampire soon. And at that point, for me at least, that's when I'm like, yeah, he's definitely not going to be a vampire anytime soon. Like it's not in the cards for him right now.
Yeah, he's just like a sad character who's never gonna get there.
Yeah, it's like he's going to always be chasing that. Now, I don't know what happens in the future, but it doesn't matter because we're talking about episode 1. But definitely at that moment, I'm like, it's not happening this episode. It's not happening at this anniversary thing for sure. So then he attends a LARPing event to find virgins, which is a funny concept. He's like, I know where I can always find some virgins still. And then, but he wants to distinguish. He's like, I'm not a killer. I just find people who are easy to kill.
It's a skill set.
He's just like on his phone showing like the LARPers like a picture of was it an 18th century battle axe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she asks if they could touch the swords.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, you'll do more than that."
Yeah.
Like as he walks away, and I just like the wink he gives the camera.
Yeah. There's a lot of very obvious jokes you can play right off the touch the swords comment. Yeah. And now we get an interview with Laszlo and Naja where they tell us why they moved, and basically like people started like rallying against vampires, and
I love
Laszlo's like it was because of the color of their skin. And she's like, well, it was also because we were murdering people. He's like, yeah,
as racism.
probably more of that. Probably more of the murdering.
There's a lot of prejudice against vampires. I love that, like, you can never really walk a mile in someone's shoes. So, like, to them, people being anti-vampire is, like, a hugely offensive thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's to call back to last week's episode, we did the Addams Family, and the story about the knight in shining armor killing the dragon. It's like, well, the perspective of the dragon isn't being considered there. So here, from the vampire's point of view, it's a very different.
Which
everybody's the hero of their own story.
It is interesting though, because they were all at one point human, right?
Yeah. They would have had to
yeah, at some point, yeah.
I don't know. How do you become an energy vampire though?
That isn't ever explained. It's getting covered now, but it still hasn't been explained yet.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they're starting to go through like the Colin Robinson story in the new season.
Oh, good.
But that doesn't exist in this.
By the way,
does not
you
exist.
gotta watch that new episode.
So now we see Laszlo and Nadia walking in a park, and he had mentions that to not like be too obvious, they dress down, but they're still dressed like in like this like.
I love that thing.
Is it 18th century? Like what era is this
Like
specifically?
it's foppish aristocrat clothing.
Yeah.
And
Gangs of New York.
I loved this. This got a genuine laugh because he's like, "Good evening," and the guy's just like, "Go back to your own country." And he goes, "What the fuck did he just say?"
I saw it already, and that's still coming out.
And he's like, "You
There's
goes
literally
to
just
Christmas."
something funny about Laszlo swearing, or just anytime he
Yeah.
swears, because even on IT Crowd, like get the fuck out. Like,
Yeah,
it's funny
because he's
every
still
time,
so like I don't know if it's because of the accent or whatever, but it's
Proper.
because they're so
something,
proper
yeah.
sounding, right? So when it comes out, it's just alarming almost.
And then the guy calls him a ghost of Christmas past bitch. It was like
Charles
it was
Dickinson.
perfect. Yeah.
It's just insane because even drunk, if somebody walked by you in the park and was like, "How you doing?" You just be like, "Hey," and you just keep going. You'd never just tell somebody to go fuck themselves like that.
Yeah.
That's when they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna kill him." They decide they're gonna be eating him and drinking his blood is the more appropriate way. Like, let's at least get something out of this instead of just murdering him. And then you see them just kind of like quick flash over to where he's at, and they just grab him and like rise him up into the sky, and we just see his date like standing there, and like they're out of shot now, and you just see like a pool of blood just fall right in front of her.
And honor.
Yeah. And she's
Didn't
not
completely hit her,
overly
she didn't
alarmed
look
by
like-
it.
She didn't look like wet. That's why I thought it was in front of her.
Yeah.
You see, they're discerning. They don't kill her too, right? They're just like, "Oh, this guy motherfucked
Yeah, they're just
us,
like,
so
"Fuck
we're
this
gonna
guy,"
eat him."
yeah.
But the woman's fine. We'll leave her alone.
Yeah, because they're not like, I mean, they're vampires and they kill and eat people, but they don't look like they don't have like a serial killer like vibe, right? It's not just the thrill of the kill. It's more.
I love the special effects of this show. It's like a lot like the movie too. Like when they have their fight and they raise when they're fighting in the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just like this whole kill, they swoop down and pull him up.
Mhm.
It's like,
Yep.
I don't know how they do that on like a television show. Like
It's good. It's
probably
funny
what-
too because they do it well from a documentary perspective.
Yeah.
So like they still have to be a documentary and inject these crazy effects into it. It's like if they had some weird effects on like The Office and Parks and Rec, it would be really tough to do, but they do it well.
Yeah. After they're done eating them, they kind of flash right back over to that walking path where they were just at, and now basically they just made plans to fuck after. They're really excited about this kill, and now they're like, let's get to it as soon as we get home.
Yeah, the blood in the kill makes them all horned up.
Yeah. But she wants to walk, and he doesn't understand why. He's like, we could just, turn into a bat, and he just flies right off.
No, I like
that
how
part
Turn
too,
into a bat,
yells-
he has to announce that he's turning into a bat.
bat, but then if you noticed, he flew into a lamp. He bounced off one of the street lamps there.
And again,
I
I hate
don't
talking about
understand
other
why they need
episodes,
to
but
turn
he
into
also, when he
bats.
changes back to a human, will yell "human form," which I think is equally as funny.
But I don't understand why he has to shapeshift anyway. He can fly without becoming a bat.
Well, it's
But you
less
see him
noticeable.
Too obvious.
If you
It's less obvious.
Yeah, if you're flying like a further distance into your home, like everyone's gonna see you, so
I
that's
guess
probably gonna be
so.
unwanted attention. And now next we have Guillermo and Nandor are at what looks like a Dollar Tree, like some sort of a dollar store. Nandor wants glitter to put all over himself, so he looks like one of the vampires in Twilight.
This
So,
is
like, if-
creepy paper too, which I have now said every time I've gone into a Michael's ever since the show started.
Ooh, multi-pack.
Buy so much creepy paper.
I'll be completely honest. When he was first doing that, I didn't put two and two together what kind of paper that was. And I just thought he thought it was like a good decoration. Like the paper was creepy for some reason. I really didn't pick up on it.
This
at
is
first.
also like my favorite scene in the whole episode when he holds up the paper skeleton. He goes, "This is kind of macabre," and he just flicks his finger and it bursts into flames.
Yeah.
And I forgot about it.
Guillermo has like a really
crying
funny like
laughing.
scream as it's happening too. Like he's like terrified of the fire.
This scene too was like the only time you really see Nandor like malicious. Like the look he gives to Guillermo when he burns a skeleton, and the look he gives to the cashier. It's very uncharacteristic of him, but it makes it even funnier.
The cashier part is I died when they were trying to pay for their creepy paper.
He throws
And
the
just
coin at him.
Throws a
Yeah, he throws the coin at him and he's like, "Well, go stab him." And he's like, "Ah,
you can't just
here
throw
go."
Stabs him
ancient
with a credit
coins at me.
Yeah. Well, it's just like the fake way that he does it, like, "Ah, here you go," and he gives it to him.
He goes, "You kind of disobeyed me right there, and I'm taking note of it."
What do you say? Is like, did you just throw like a medieval coin at me?
Like, you can't be throwing ancient coins
Yeah.
at me.
Ancient coin,
Yeah.
ancient coin. And then we see Naja outside when she should be like preparing for the feast. So now we see Naja again, and she explains how she's been like seeing another man, but not like actually seeing him. She's like physically just seeing him. She's been kind of just following him everywhere, and she's been
Stalking.
sneaking around behind him. And then you cut to her scaling up a wall to his window, and she's just watching him jerk off. And I did not see that coming, and it completely took me by surprise, and I lost it when that happened. And she goes to take a picture of him while he's doing it, but she has like an old camera with like a flash bulb. It was absolutely amazing.
I'm not saying you need to like light some candles, have a glass of wine or anything, but the utilitarian level of this guy jerking off is like the funniest thing to me, because when he gets up, his pants are only down just enough to pull his dick out, and he's just staring at his phone, and he's above his covers. Like, it's the most like just going for it scenario.
This is the saddest shit ever.
Yeah, just super fucking
In a
depressing.
shitty apartment.
Well,
Yeah, it's a
well,
shitty
guys,
apartment.
without making a dark turn, if you guys think it looks real cool when you're jerking off, probably not so much.
Oh, certainly not, but at least pull the pants down to your knees, man. Come on. Get
Be
some
a
range of
gentleman
motion
about it.
going.
He's like giving himself a quickie.
Yeah. That's what you do in the work bathroom, not
Right,
Jerk
right,
off?
of course.
in your own house. You know, get it done quick.
Well, your own house is also your work bathroom, so
Yeah, I work from home, so
Yeah.
I light candles when I do it.
So
Careless whisper.
technically, in a roundabout way, for those of you wondering, technically, Joe jerks off at work.
Oh, I don't like that one bit.
She
I hope your employer is not a fan.
yeah. And then
I
she-
can tell you from my every job I've ever had, no employer has ever been a fan of me.
She then tells us about another human she used to have an affair with, Gregor, who got beheaded, and she never quite got over him. And now we're cutting to all the guys heading down to the basement, and they haven't been to this area in like years, they said. Which I was a little confused about, because earlier they're talking about the cages. I thought that was all basement stuff when they're talking about the cages and the hygiene. But
aren't they in
maybe-
the attic?
No, they
That's
eventually end
later.
up in the attic.
Oh,
they
right,
eventually
yeah,
end
yeah.
up there.
Yeah, it's later.
Up with the Stairmaster.
Yeah. So they're looking for a chamber that's like perfect for the blood feast. And then they go to open the door, and it turns out that's Colin's room. And he was just sitting up like in his bed, like looking at the wall basically, right?
Just staring at nothing.
And so they're like, all right, we'll just have it in the attic again. And that's when the Stairmaster comes up. Like, we'll move the Stairmaster.
But why did they have a Stairmaster?
Great
Yeah, it's
question.
fun-
It's probably in the house or something.
Yeah, we talked about it
See,
before.
I took it as you've seen how impressionable they all are. I feel like they just watched the interview, like
The infomercial. Yeah.
and they ordered it and couldn't resist because they're so irresponsible and easily the fool, and that's what those infomercials are for. Maybe,
Right.
maybe I'm stretching, but
No, that makes sense to me.
And then next they cut to them all going to the ship to pick up the package, which is just the coffin with the Baron in it. And they have to sign a tablet, but none of their hands register, so they eventually have to use Guillermo's. And I thought that was a nice little touch right there.
Yeah,
I
like
love too
that.
that Laszlo asks if he has a quill.
Yeah.
And he says no. He goes, "Oh, I'm not fucking signing that then."
Just walks away. Walks away so angry.
such a good character.
And then now we get Naja outside when she should be preparing for this blood feast, but she can't stop thinking about new Gregor. So then as he's walking by outside, she's going, human man. And then that's when we find out that this new Gregor, his name is Jeff. And she was so turned off by his name. As soon as he like announced his name, I don't know if it was like, it was easier to romanticize thinking that he was just Gregor again, but
Yeah.
but
Well, no,
and I
he had a
can't-
funny last name. What was the last name?
it was like Suckler or something like
Yes, Sucker or something like that.
that. But
One thing with Jeff too that you didn't, or Gregor or Jeff, you forgot to mention too, is right after she mentions that he kept being decapitated, he almost gets
Wrote time.
decapitated by his own window.
yes, and I can't remember if it was at this point or earlier. But as she's talking and comparing him to Gregor, they flash a like a drawing type situation of Gregor's beheadal, and then they side by side that with the picture that she took of Jeff jerking off to
The bright,
show the
high-lit
similar
picture.
similar faces.
It's Jeff Suckler.
Suckler. Everyone's now waiting for the virgins to show up, like at the door. He's like, fingers crossed, Guillermo, saying, I hope it's them. And then they start hissing at him again.
Because he crossed his finger.
But is that a vampire thing? Crossed fingers?
Yeah.
Well, you make
in
a
the,
cross.
it's a
in the
cross.
movie,
Any
they
cross,
say at
yeah.
the very beginning, the entire film crew, so they don't get attacked, wear crosses to keep them back.
Yeah, but crossing your fingers isn't the sign, like, doesn't make a cross, like a
I think it's
crucifix.
just cross enough though.
So is that like, cause that's what I couldn't piece together. The crossing of the fingers I didn't associate with like a crucifix, but essentially it's the same realm we're thinking of here.
I guess so. I don't see a
Yeah, I
crucifix
guess.
from that. It's a play on words.
Yeah.
You can't overanalyze the show.
So now the virgins do arrive, Jenna and Jonathan, and I like that just flat off as soon as they walk in, they're asked if they're virgins, and like he's kind of like, not that it's any of your business, and then she gets into the whole, well, I have an online boyfriend, but we haven't met yet IRL, so they make it very clear that they both are in fact very much virgins.
Don't they tell him, good job, Guillermo, too?
Do they at that point? I don't remember that
I think so,
specifically,
yeah.
but yeah,
I think I think Nandor is like, very good, Guillermo.
and they're just under the impression that they're at a vampire LARP group, like, which would make sense considering the world that they live in, like in their interests. Like that would probably be why Guillermo met them. Like he's a LARPer himself, but in this vampire situation.
And she's in a ton of stuff too. Is that Beansy Feldstein? Just Jonah Hill's sister.
She's in that movie.
Oh, really?
When they go to the party, that Harvard movie that was not Harvard. Sorry, it's like a graduation, like dirty, raunchy comedy.
The one with John
where they
Cena?
Going to school. Was it with John Cena?
The one where the parents
I
are
didn't
trying to
see
stop
it.
their kids from fuck. Oh no, that's
No,
one.
not
No,
that
that's-
one. That's cock blockers or
Yeah.
blockers in America.
Yeah, no, this one was it's basically like a female cast version of what's the Jonah Hill movie?
Super bad.
Super Bad. From a couple
Okay.
years ago. It was really good. It was very funny.
And then now we're back to Naja and Gregor Jeff, as she calls him. And they're walking together, and I just thought it was interesting that this guy sees this, he doesn't know that she's an actual vampire, but just the way she is dressed and presents herself. He's just walking down the street and she's like, hey. And he's just like, all right, I'll entertain this. Like,
Well, he was
Who
jerking
knows?
off
I was
alone in
gonna
his
say.
bed in his apartment earlier, and now he's got a dress of a female.
Yeah.
well, how many people are in your bed when you jerk off?
That's not what I mean.
That is the best response to that question I could ever imagine.
So we, oh man, so we find out he's a night watchman, and she's like laughing. She's just basically trying to entertain him, so she's laughing at everything he's saying, right? Because there's nothing remotely humorous about him just saying that he's a night watchman. So now she's recapping because to him, the first time she made love to Gregor, because she's convinced that this is just a reincarnated version of him. And then she mentions how she accidentally beheaded him, but just kept fucking him like after his head was cut off.
Until her needs were met.
Yeah.
That's the best way.
She starts having a conversation back and forth with herself, like, you shouldn't do this, but I want to. And, she's torn because she's, with Laszlo. And eventually she says she has to leave. And she vanishes, like, instantaneously as he's asking for her number. So, yeah, he's clearly pretty lonely, right? After all this, he's still like, can I get your number? Like, she just said she beheaded a guy and kept fucking him.
I meant to ask, she's the one who beheaded him?
The first time they had sex, yeah.
So the first time she mentions that he was beheaded, I don't think they got into how. But when she's talking to Gregor, Jeff.
Because I thought he said in battle or something like, she said in battle.
No, it was implied that it was battle because he was a knight.
Oh, okay.
And you see him with his head cut off in a knight's armor. So there was just, they didn't say it.
They wanted you to think it was something else.
Right.
But then when she was talking to Jeff, she says that it was the first time that they had sex. She accidentally beheaded him and continued on until she had finished. So now we're back in the attic now, and we see all the cheap dollar store decorations, like the streamers and stuff, and Nandor has like glitter on his face and just chunks of it. Like it's not even it's not even like a subtle sparkly thing. It just looks like he has Vaseline with glitter under his cheeks and stuff.
Do you think he had Guillermo put that on for him, or did he do it himself?
I think 100% Guillermo.
Yeah, it's Guillermo.
Yeah.
And then, so there's two other people in the room, and I forget who the one girl who's next to the coffin is, but the other one is June. And June again, that is Aunt Shirley from The Office.
It is. Okay, I meant to ask this. I caught a glimpse of her right there, and that's when I noticed it. It had to be her.
Yeah. And to go back a handful of episodes when we covered Scrubs, she was on that pilot as well. So, oddly enough, is she the first person to be seen in 2 episodes that we've covered?
Oh, can't be.
Yeah,
but,
I feel like that's got to be somebody else, but
just by the degrees of separation are so easily with.
We'll have to do a check, but I don't know. I can't think of anyone who would have double dipped.
Been in 2 things.
Oh yeah, Laszlo was in the IT crowd. Oh, he wasn't in the pilot.
Not in the pilot.
Oh, not in the movie. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm saying just 2, the actual specific episodes. It's a very random person to.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would have to go back and think about that.
I gotta think of what we've done so far. We've done so many episodes at this point.
Yeah, this is 30 something, right?
Yeah. No. This episode would be.
This is 29.
I think 28 or 9. Yeah.
29. This is 29.
Yeah.
So now the casket opens and the Baron instantly bites Aunt Shirley or June. The familiar. She's also a familiar, I guess. So I was under the impression that Guillermo was the only one they had, but we do see her earlier in the episode at one point.
She's kind of just walking around a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't really piece
I
why
thought
she was
they
there.
were his familiars.
Yeah, the other
Barons.
2. No,
she was in the house before he got there.
No, because then even Ferg, I thought you would have noticed when Laszlo does his old-timey voice, basically says, "Hey, old chap." That's because he says, "Hey, old chap." Those are our familiars.
Okay.
And then
I know he has that one creepy old lady as his familiar.
Yeah,
that's the Baron.
Yeah, both of the
Yeah.
women up there outside in Naja are familiars.
Yeah. So the casket opens and we see the Baron. He bites June. And he's doing this weird stretch. I don't know if it was intended to be a stretch or a weird dance or what he was doing. I think it was stretching. He was kind of waving his arms around a little bit, slowly. And
Well, I mean, he just got shipped from Transylvania to
true.
New York.
And boy, are his arms tired.
Hey-o.
And so Laszlo had mentioned that he thought he had genitals.
Laszlo. That's another great Laszlo line. I remember him having genitals.
But apparently not. Apparently that's actually why he was such a good lover, was the creativity from not having genitals.
I love his like makeup though, the fucking like Nosferatu style like.
Yeah,
It's very well done, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to figure like how do you even best describe how he looks for those listening who haven't seen this.
I would say if you had to describe it, I would say it would be like what you would imagine a burn victim might look like. Like
Yeah,
it looks
that's
like a
actually
bunch
really
of,
good.
Yeah.
Like an
he
old
he
burn
looks
victim.
like the drawings they continuously show in the
It's
episode.
a very
Like,
skinny body, kind of like some bat-like qualities, despite being like a man, like it's not like not quite a bat, but like he almost has like a webbing under his arms and stuff like that.
like long thin hair.
you
Yeah,
can see he's got a very defined rib cage,
yes,
a
super
sunken
defined.
stomach. Yeah, it's creepy. It's yeah.
It's actually really it's a decent costume that they have on him.
Oh
I
my
was
god,
gonna
that
say
must have
it's
been
very-
10 hours in the makeup chair for that.
Yeah.
That's
I
insane.
can't imagine
amount,
that was
yeah.
an easy day. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's very impressive that they went that hard on his costume
Yep.
and his
for television
character
in general, but like
for television,
Yeah.
but also a pilot
Yep.
too.
And then so Guillermo gets sent down to get the virgins, and they're arguing at this point too because Laszlo hates all the decorations and the Stairmaster's still up there.
I love that no one took the Stairmaster down after that.
It's
That
just
goes
pushed in
back
the
to us
corner.
talking about how lazy they are. It's like nobody did it.
And this is where the creepy paper comes up again too. But they correct him at that point too, right? They inform him that it's not actually
I
called
think
creepy paper.
Laszlo corrects him, I
Yep.
believe.
And then we get like the big like silence from the Baron and like that scary tone shifted voice like
Yeah, he has like a deep timbre and it sort of shakes
Yeah.
the house and gets all echoey.
and he comes with a proclamation and while he's talking notices the documentary crew, so like it's finally addressed.
It's like, oh, they're filming me?
Yeah, he's like, oh, don't worry about it, you just have to like pretend that they're not there, it's fine. We also find out at this point that they're in Staten Island, and it was brought up earlier, but basically the only reason that they're in Staten Island is that's where the boat dropped them off, and they didn't go anywhere else, they just stayed there.
That's there's a whole big thing. I don't know if you are familiar with the term two-boaters.
No.
So basically, when there was people sort of immigrating to America, a bunch of people got brought to Canada and dropped off, and they were like, "Welcome to America, see you later." And then people were like, "Oh shit, we're in Canada." So like half the people stayed, and then the other half had to get like on another boat to go the rest of the way. But it was a way to just be like, "This is a more straight shot from Europe, so we're just gonna drop you off, tell you it's America, and like sort of bail."
Yeah.
And I sort of got that. Like that's what made me think of when they were like, "Yeah, we're taking you to wherever." It's like
They just
fucking
didn't feel
Staten
like
Island.
leaving, yeah.
So I'll be a little honest, because when I was watching this part confused me a little bit. I didn't quite remember what the Baron's message was, and then they were super nervous because they thought that they were basically fucked at that point. Because the Baron delivers a message, he then goes back into his casket, and then they're just super nervous. And what exactly was it that he was expecting of them that they were nervous of?
He expected them to have taken over. They had been there for a long time, and they've literally done nothing.
Right.
He was also
Yeah.
coming. He was also staying in America or something like that too.
Yeah, his message was he's staying. They're
Oh,
gonna
okay.
take
So
over.
And then
I
when he
think
wakes
that's
from
what
his-
I didn't pick up on.
When he wakes from his slumber, he's gonna, look at all the work they've done.
Got
Oh,
it.
I love that
Okay.
he has to slumber again after sleeping
After
for
all
the
of that
entire
time. Yeah.
transatlantic boat ride.
Yeah, because when you think about it too, like I mean, we've seen the rest of their caskets too, and do they need rest? Like, or is it just like
It's a
to
good
pass the
question.
time? Like, does a
I always
vampire need sleep?
assumed it was just the sun was up. They couldn't do anything else, so they slept in the day.
Yeah.
And at night they could
Right,
go out.
because it's like
but-
you do it in a coffin. It's a good way to keep.
You wouldn't
yourself
think
in the
that they
dark.
would sleep though. Just they don't
They
eat.
just
They
lay
don't.
there and meditate.
Yeah.
Basically, do what Colin was doing when they opened up the door to his room, and he's just
I'm
sitting
resting.
up in bed. Yeah. So then, they go to get the virgins, but Colin already got to them, and now they have no nutritional value. They say.
He's explaining what car detailing is to them. It's just like you imagine when they're doing the writing, they were trying to think of what the most like just
Mundane.
dead, like boring thing to explain was, and that is a perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, Gordo?
So the trope works for several reasons. This is from tvtropes.org, just so you guys know. Primarily to emphasize that they are members of the living dead, so their deviancy is naturally reflected in their sleeping habits. Additionally, coffins are a good way to keep out pesky sunlight that tends to cause bad sunburns on vampires. So that is why vampires sleep in coffins. It's a TV trope. It's not.
Makes sense, like, because if where you are
Question wasn't
sleeping,
though why they sleep in coffins. The question was, do they actually sleep?
Yeah, are
Do
they
they, do they need
So-
rest? Do they need to actually go to bed?
I
I'll be
assume
back.
I assume they. I'm gonna say this. I assume they do just to pass the time, because if I'm home and my internet goes off and I'm just sitting there alone with my fucking thoughts, time drags on. And I want to put a bullet in my head. So imagine being in a casket. Imagine being in a casket with nothing to do. For
Berg,
like
there are
12
people
hours.
you can talk to to make you not feel that way when you're alone.
Oh no, it's the ADHD, man. I gotta fucking. I need to be busy at all times doing at least something, or I go nuts.
So according to the first
According to vampiretropes.com.
no. According to the very, very reputable institution, paranormalschool.com,
That's a .com. It's legit.
it has been said that vampires do not need to sleep every day, but many choose to do so to help them pass the time.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
older a vampire
said.
is, the less sleep they may need. It is also said that when vampires sleep, they enter into a deep sleep, which is almost trance-like. That is from, it's official when it's from paranormalschool.com.
There you go.
So
If
Can
it
you
was
get can you get a
.org,
degree from there?
I
Do they offer online courses?
Gordo tried, but he flunked out.
now I'm stuck on an ad. No, but they do offer ghost hunting, how to make a homemade spirit box, dowsing rods, and how to find ghosts in 13 simple steps, and the ultimate guide to the types of ghosts. So while they may not offer a degree,
They
do
offer you
have
a bunch of
highly-
other silly, useless shit.
Man, I don't know about you.
Ghosts
but
aren't real.
I say Nick has made his thoughts on this quite clear in the
You
the
guys
past.
don't do the dowsing rods.
I'm
and,
all about it, Gordo. Let's go ghost hunting.
I always wanted to. I've always wanted to explore that crack house that we were talking about down at
It's gone.
Deer Island. Yeah, and it's gone. That was the one that
You never went in with us?
I did. Yeah, and there was some creepy
Yeah.
mattress on the floor.
Yeah.
If I remember, and there was like 420 spray paint.
I feel like any mattress on the floor
ghost
is
smoked
creepy.
weed.
Some
More like heroin.
No, but wasn't there something like super creepy about like that was spray painted in there, like the blood of the dead will be
It was
like
like the blood
risen.
of the children shall sleep, or something that made no
Yeah,
sense, but it was
yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
On-
Oh,
There's also a dead bird with no
It
head
wasn't
in
like
the
a real
refrigerator.
I like
Satanist
the
thing.
idea of like two teenagers in there one night. So just to peel back a second, there was like this old creepy like abandoned house that was not too far from where we all lived. That it was like kind of in the middle of a field. It was very very creepy and
In the middle of a field on a beach.
yeah. So
It's-
like as kids we would sneak in there at night every now and again just to scare ourselves, but. I like the idea that like two teenagers went in there one night and like with cans of spray paint and it's like, oh dude, what'd you write? Like, oh, I wrote like the blood of the children shall perish, and like what'd you write? 420. It's like, oh, all right. We were on different pages. What the mission was here? Like,
Van Halen rules.
I was gonna say like what band at the time, right? It's like Richard Marx forever.
but yeah, to go back. So Colin sucks the life out of these guys. He sucks the energy out of them, but it doesn't kill them when that happens, right? They just look tired.
Yeah,
Like-
you can replenish.
Right,
It's
yeah.
like it's almost
Like-
harmless in a way.
Yeah. But like when he walks off, that's when, it was referenced earlier. You see his like eyes glowing and he makes like this like type face.
Yeah.
Like so it's enough for him. So I mean, could you in theory, if you're like an energy vampire, can you just have the same few people that you're just constantly just going to the well with and like
I don't
they
see why not,
replenish
yeah.
and It's like a rechargeable battery, like energy source.
They probably don't stick around unless they're at work with you and like have to show up though.
Right. But does he like leave the workday like fully good, to go back, like it's enough energy he gets from all those guys that he can just keep going every day?
I think so, because he calls it he's like the office, or what I like to refer to it as the hunting ground. So he must be doing that every day.
Yeah. Sit with just the same people.
God, it's so hard not to talk about the future episodes, especially with him.
Yeah.
So
He's one
now
of those characters, like we mentioned NoHo Hank a few weeks ago. He's like one of those characters like NoHo Hank that just comes up and it's just like this new character on a new TV show, and you're like, okay, that's there forever.
So now we got Nandor, and he's now recognizing that it's Guillermo's 10-year anniversary. So he tells him to prepare himself. So Guillermo holds his shirt like down to expose his neck because he's expecting to get bit.
I'm ready.
It's so sensual too.
Yeah, he's thinking it's time to finally become a vampire, and then instead, Nandor presents him with a glitter portrait, and it's just like
painting.
Yeah, it's just a glitter painting,
It's a painting
that he did
with
of
glitter.
the two of them. Yeah, he's like, look, I made you a vampire. Because earlier Guillermo had referenced that, he's been hinting, he keeps telling me he's going to make me a vampire. What he did not know is he did not mean literally. He said when he said he was going to make him a vampire, what he meant was he was going to
paint him as a vampire.
He was going to make him a vampire in a piece of art.
I just love that he drew him, though, as the Antonio Banderas vampire.
Yeah.
He drew him as his version of, yeah.
I mean, in fairness, if he really did make this himself, it's not bad.
It also means he's paying attention to what Guillermo wants.
Yeah.
Or likes, rather.
But at the same time, he's only been his familiar for 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Been 10.
Yeah.
And then when he corrects him, Guillermo corrects him, and he just goes, 10 years? Okay.
Well, you know what? To be fair, if you've been alive for that long, 10 years is probably tough to gauge.
That's true, too.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's all on Guillermo.
Yeah, 10 years
I
must seem like
also,
nothing.
I love he tells him to hang the picture in his sad room.
Yeah, he's like, go put this in your depressing room. So it's like, you're the one who gave him the room. Like, if you think it's that depressing, you could have like maybe hooked him up with like something a little bit better. So now Nandor goes into the coffin to rest after he tells him that. And as the door shuts to the coffin, Guillermo's standing there near the window, and he kind of like moves the shades aside for a moment. And you see light entering the room and like hitting where the coffin is. And he like thinks about it for a second, but ultimately he just can't pull the trigger, and he changes his mind and like, lets the shadows fill up again. And then we get like one last shot, and it's like a board from the window up in the attic falls down, and you see some light entering the room. It's up in the attic where the Baron's coffin currently is. So I didn't know if that was supposed to be anything significant or a lead-in for later. Like, do we think like light's gonna affect all this?
I don't see like why it would, because he's not going to come out in the daytime. That's the whole reason he's in the casket.
Yeah, I just thought I didn't know if that's why.
He might be jet lagged though. He doesn't know what time it is.
Yeah,
That's a great point. Yeah.
But the way they showed it, I didn't know if that was because that's the final shot of the show. So I didn't know if that was meant to mean more than it was.
A little bit of foreshadowing, I think,
Yeah.
without going into it.
Yeah. So, well, that's it, though. That's the whole episode. What We Do in the Shadows. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about as far as the show goes? I know you guys had all watched a lot more than just this first episode, or at least a couple of you had. I don't want to get too much into
quotable.
I don't want to get too into the future, but the show in general, just having come off of this episode, quotable for sure. For sure.
I think when we first watched this, when it was just episode 1 and it premiered, right? We just watched the first one. That whole week, we were just quoting this episode too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a pretty good indicator of when a show is good, is if immediately the whole next week you're waiting for the next one and you can't stop making quotes and making references to it.
I want to say this first episode is a lot like the movie, and as the show goes on, it distances itself a little more. But so if you like this first episode, watch the movie, because I guarantee you'll enjoy it.
Where is the movie on any streaming service?
I believe it's on Prime Video. That's where I watched it for the first time.
I'll have to go see
they pull stuff down all the time. So I know that was the first place I ever watched it a few years back.
Yeah, I rented it a few years back because I couldn't find it streaming anywhere for free, but it's worth the $3 to rent if it's not streaming anywhere for free. It's really funny.
Cool. Just to get into it, we'll get right into the green light or cancel from this point. We'll go around. I have a really strong feeling I know how everyone's going to vote, but let's get into it.
We got a little wild card who's a cat, so I really don't know.
So, but we're going to start in the order I'm looking at you, and Ferg, you're first.
For me, this one's a no-brainer. Green light. Like I said, I love the movie. I love the show is great. Special effects alone, amazing. for a pilot of a thing. Like we went over all that. Not much more to say. It's just it's hilarious. Look at that raunchy humor, but it's also like smart at the same time. So yeah, 100% green light.
Gordo.
So this episode, I watched it prior, a couple years ago when it first came out. And I never followed up, I think, past episode 5. For whatever reason or another, I just forgot that the show was on. But this episode made me excited to see the rest of the series. It's no brainer. It's hysterical, like Ferg said. It's so funny in so many different ways. Green light 100%.
Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's not much more to say that we haven't said already about this show. It's smart, it's raunchy, it's so insanely quotable. I just don't understand the idea of somebody not enjoying this right away, but so for me, green light.
Nick.
Yeah, I mean, this show is pretty fantastic. One of the things is I can't tell who my favorite character is, and it's because I like them all so much, right? It's a lot of fun, which is what you want in a sitcom like this. It's just entertaining the whole way through. It's smart, like Ferg had said. I really obviously do want to keep watching. This is by and far, we've all picked shows for this podcast, right? Like, so we pick shows that we like and stuff. I don't think I even picked this one, right? Who picked this one? Or did we just pick it as a
group?
group?
This is a group consensus. I think all of October.
Yeah,
was.
all of October we just decided we were going
voted on
to
it.
do
Yeah, so like
Halloween-esque shows. So
even with the ones that I have picked, this is by and far the easiest green light. It's so unique. People kind of distanced themselves from the documentary style after it was kind of beaten into the ground. So I'm glad that they came back with it like this. I really, really enjoyed it, and I will definitely keep watching.
for me, I tend to not dig a lot of vampire-y stuff. A lot of that isn't my go-to. But with this, the second the episode started, and I saw it was like documentary style, and I saw the tone of the show, because the tone of the show was very apparent from the very beginning, I was hooked. And I loved this episode. I thought there was a lot of jokes that really hit me. It's not just the fact that it went raunchy, because a lot of shows can go raunchy and it's just to like, get a cheap laugh. But like the way they did it really blended in really well. When Jeff was up in his bed jerking off, it was hysterical to me. And for me, it's a really easy yes. I've been waiting to watch this show because I've known for a while we were going to do that here. Prior to like you guys talking about it, I didn't, for whatever reason, it didn't captivate me enough to want to watch it. Now that I have, I'm super glad I did. I can't wait to continue watching it. This is a very easy yes for me, and as I expected, it is 5 for 5. So congratulations to What We Do in the Shadows. Perfect, 100% from us. You live on to see another day. Green lights all the way across the board. That's it. That's
only
all.
our third one.
No, it's good. There's more than 3.
We've
There's
only
more
had
than
3 that I think
Across the board? No, I think we have a very small amount of ones we've all...
Not many. And I
Canceled.
I don't have everything in front of me at this very moment. But if we're going to stall for a second.
Yeah, we completely greenlit. Let's see here.
The Munsters, for sure.
The Munsters, Married with Children. My Name is Earl. The Good Place. That 70s
So I'm already
show.
super wrong.
Community. Yeah, we all greenlit.
Oh, and
Community.
Friends. Friends and Home Improvement, too. Wow. Yeah, so
almost 10 out of almost 30 episodes.
so we're like a third.
Yeah.
100%.
We weren't that hard on shows in the early days.
Yeah, we've got our...
You know,
got
that
some
would
of
be
our,
an
like,
interesting
sea legs
concept for
below
this
us.
show. Would you guys ever be interested, way down the line, of course, to, maybe we can go back and have we changed our minds on any of these pilots? Maybe we didn't agree with our... Because I have one in mind that I would love to change, thinking about it.
I got a couple.
It would be interesting to go back. Yeah.
I
I
would
would,
love to revisit, yeah.
I think down the
We could do a
road,
one-off
especially
special.
when maybe when we hit like kind of another like milestone number, maybe we do like a bonus episode where we kind of talk and recap everything we've done so far and go over all that kind of stuff. And we'll figure out how to do that. And, so for all of you listening, keep an ear out, and we'll eventually down the line have something like that for sure. But in any event, Go to S1E1pod.com. That's where you can find all the links to all our social media, everywhere where you can listen to us. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Spread the word. Let people know that we exist. We appreciate all that stuff very much. Send us feedback. What do you like? What do you not like? We listen to all of that and we take it to heart. So keep in touch with us and, we'll get back to you too. But that's it. That's all the time we have for today. Catch you next week. Goodbye.
Happy Halloween.
Uniform.
I did it. I did the whole episode with a mask on.